Right, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, right now it's about 3:30 p.m. So we can start our next segment on the live chat with our parents. I think I'll pass the time to our parents to facilitate this whole session. So the school staff will try our best not to interfere. So you can ask any questions that you want, okay, and they will answer as best based on their own personal capacity, and that's really wonderful. Hanina?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Goh. Hi, I'm Helena, and I have with me here this afternoon parents of various students in the school across a whole range of years. If I may start first with Mrs. Goh Kun. She's the mother of two students, a year 6 daughter, as well as a year 1 son. We also have another father of a year 1 boy, and his name is Mr. Anand Tyagarajan. We have another mother who has 2 children, or rather one is an alumni and one is a current student. We have Mrs. Sao Yang Sukchiat. Her daughter was an alumni of the school. That means already graduated, and I think the mother is very proudly wearing the T-shirt of her daughter's current university. So thank you. And she has another son who is in year 4 of NUS High. We have another father here, Dr. Melvin Tan, who is the father of a year 5 boy. And finally, we have Mrs. Kausar Karimi, who is the mother of a year 4 boy. So you can see that we have quite a nice spread of parents here. We have run so far, this is the 3rd session, and I think questions are coming very quick and fast. Is there any question that we should address first? Would anybody like to mention anything? Okay, why don't we set the whole thing rolling? There's always been this question about girls versus boys at NUS High. There are always so many fewer girls, whatever the ratio really is, but how do girls fit in? Would it be very nice for Sukchiat to tell us that your daughter has, well, she survived 6 years in NUS High, more than survived. How would you describe her experience?
Wonderful. She is always a trendsetter. I have my year 5 is a boy, and she's the older girl, and she, being the trendsetter, has gotten me into the research mode when she decided to zoom in and target on NUS High. I did my studies and talk to the teachers, talk to our previous students. They are very well stretched, a wide breadth of knowledge as well. So she has a relatively good stretch in her languages, in her Mandarin, her English, her maths and science definitely. She has gone on to do science research in Stanford, and she is currently still enrolled in Stanford. And she enjoys her experience in NUSI tremendously. You might have listened to her just now at the alumni talk. Yeah.
Sukchiat, sorry, how does your daughter's experience compare with your younger son now?
Oh, my younger son. My younger son is a completely different breed. His interest is actually more geared towards applied maths. Actually, he's actually more a computing person. His interest is very much in chess, music, and computing, for which he actually met a lot of his friends of the same kind, enjoying the specialized computing program in NUS High. It matches his interests tremendously. Yet at the same time, he is having his time in his chess club. So unfortunately, because of the bigger environment, there is no face-to-face chess tournament. But otherwise, he is actually given a good share of opportunities in tournaments representing the school for chess. Yeah, he has a FIDE rating of 1737. Yeah, he's happy, extremely happy.
So we have one very happy mother here. I'll pass this one on. it has here, I mean, something just popped up straight away. How do your female students fare compared to the boys? Shall we have a mother of another girl answer that question? Kirkun, would you be able to give any comparison? How do girls fare compared to boys?
I think my daughter is now in year 6 and my son is year 1. So for the year 6, I think after a while I got used to the results. Is for her is usually good. All right. So occasionally she does get the book prize. So that was for 1 year that she managed to beat the boys. So she was very happy. But other than that, it's actually not very easy. Yeah, for her, because she did say there are really students who are way beyond and maybe do not need to study in a sense. Yeah, but she's the kind who study very hard. Yeah, and she maintained her grades very well. Yeah, it's very good.
So from one parent who says her daughter studies very hard, but then is it highly stressful? Would Kausa be able to answer that question? Is your son very stressed out in school?
No, actually, he's right now he's relaxing. He's taking a break. He's saying that, okay, I need to take a break. I need to relax and recharge and come back and do whenever he has to work, he has to work. But then when he's taking a break, it's a break time. So I don't see him stressed about the maths and sciences or any other subjects except I'm sorry to say, mother tongue. That's the only problem. Otherwise we are good. Otherwise we are good, and it's a good thing that that mother tongue is like, it doesn't. If you don't want it, you don't have to count it, and that is one plus point for us. So that is, no, he's not stressed at all, and I think they all have fun, and most of the students, for them everything is like easy. I think they enjoy it, basically. That's all that I can say. They basically enjoy whatever they are doing. So it's not work, it's fun.
There's one very interesting, and I'll keep Kausa on line because there was a question. It says, is there home economics taught in the school? Answer is no, but the PSG have stepped in to provide that sort of enrichment lessons for some students because they requested for it. Kausa, would you like to expand a little bit more? How do you as a parent, have you contributed to the school?
So one of the things that our students, especially year 5 and year 6 students, have requested is cooking skills. They want to know how to cook, and so for a few of us, our parents, we went ahead. We got a certificate to teach on food and handling, and we went ahead and we are teaching them, like, we are doing extra lessons, and we are teaching them how to cook. One pot dishes, plus Helena here is teaching them how to sew. Now this year we are also going to go into financial literacy. These are the 3-4 things which they are asking, and I'm glad that, like, they are going beyond the curriculum. So when parents ask, is it only academics? No, they want to explore and they want to learn. So why not? So if we can provide those things, and it is done in a lab. The cooking is done in a lab. That's the most fantastic part. So it's like, we are cooking with induction stoves, and and they are cutting and frying and all kinds of things. So it's amazing what children want to do and what they want to explore. So it's fun.
It's very good. Thank you, Kausa. We have parents who are very curious, especially those who are looking at the DSA and getting their children in. One asks for a parent's opinion about, your child's life here in NUS High. Anand, your son is in year 1. He spends probably about 5.5 months in school. Would you like to share your opinion, please?
Sure. I think he, like all things, there's a little bit of a settling in process into high school, secondary school. So that probably took about a month. We kind of told him, look, take 6 months. The first semester, first 2 terms is really settling in. But the way things are organized, they just, he, at least personally, for him, he settled in very quickly, loved the curriculum, got into the curriculum, made friends. He knew some kids from his primary school and who came in with him, but otherwise he's made new friends. I think, again, when kids are passionate about the subjects that they are taking, whether it's maths, whether it's science, whether it's other things, and I think, as the parent earlier said, if you enjoy it, then it doesn't feel like work, right? So they're doing a lot of hard work, but if you don't like it, it will be a chore. If you like it, all of a sudden it's not that stressful. The stress comes from, of course, their deadlines and things you've got to manage a little bit. Like all kids, we've had to manage his sleep patterns a little bit, get him to sleep in time and all that. But otherwise, no, he's had a great time. He seems to have settled in well, and hopefully that'll continue.
That's very good, Anand. I think all of us are probably going to give one similar answer to a particular question that says, what makes parents decide to put your kids in NUS High versus the other elite schools? I think all of us will say we never told our child to go to NUS High. I think our children chose for themselves. They only asked for our support, and I'm glad I told my son, I'll let you have the road less traveled. We also have, students who came from, particular primary schools. Friends would have all chosen to go to particular secondary schools. But Melvin, could you probably share, what made your son decide to come here to NUS High?
Yes, it was actually a toss-up between 3 of the boys, 2 of the boys' schools that offered him a DSA, and NUS High, which also, it's not a boys' school, but it's a co-ed. So the issue was he wanted to follow his friends, and the majority went to other places. Having said that, we realized that the curriculum, the rigor, and the ability for NUS to provide opportunities that were just beyond academics made us clinch the decision. So therefore, it was actually a combination of factors, including the freedom to choose your CCAs, and he has switched his CCAs over the years from table tennis to astro and now even basketball. So the passions change as they get into their teens. And the most important driving force is that they are able to be at the level of the ability of the student. Therefore, if they were given opportunities, it would be because maybe the curriculum at their level is not challenging enough. So for Lucas, I would say that whatever he has been given, it is appropriate for him, and he has enjoyed his studies and his path so far.
That's very good, Melvin, thank you. Sukhjit, would you like to just answer the next one? I think you have experience to say. Can you share what your children, not just one child, both children have enjoyed most at NUS High? The research, probably. That's one.
Yes, that one too, but I actually think it is more enjoyable to say the community. We know people 6 years ahead of us. We know people younger than us, and we are very closely, tightly knit and supportive of each other, especially when the kids are on their own overseas. There is a network actually all over the world to support each other. That's what I thought was something that was intricately built into their growing up process. Research definitely they get get the exposure, but parents would have heard of that as our strength. Yeah, I think the friendship, the network, and the friends and the support is one thing that we enjoyed tremendously, both for my son and my daughter. Yeah,
that's very, very good. And would you then say that the research experience that your daughter had received while in NUS High has aided her now that she's an undergraduate at Stanford?
Most definitely. She has access to NUS, the knowledge base. She had a very rigorous training as a high school student way back in high school. So when she went to the undergrad program in Stanford, she is actually actively, actually way before she decided to go to Stanford, she has quite a number of offers. She actually zoomed in on Professor Manu Prakash of Stanford. He's the one that actually exposes her to the full scope, a $1 low cost telescope. That is really very useful in the third world countries to help them build up certain knowledge. So even before going into the undergraduate program itself, the research exposure in NUS High has already provided them with the groundwork of what their interest is, help to shape them in terms of the direction they want to go. And when they go on to their undergraduate, they're actually able to navigate the big environment and find their own path and their own direction. I think that's that's the roots come from NUS High and the exposure to the higher institution back in high school.
That's wonderful to hear. But now we will move on because all of us seem to have our kids have lives that revolve around school. But somebody else asked, do they have time for activities outside school? Kirkun, would you be able to share that that your children, I mean, are they really just, you mentioned your daughter says she studies hard, but she has time for other things too, isn't it?
Yes. This is something that I was a bit surprised, given that secondary school is usually the most active time for the students. For herself, she's actually involved in CCA string school orchestra, and also the music and art ambassador interest group. And outside of this CCA time and lots of other activities, she also helped out with open house, and they also do voluntary community work. Besides that, she also managed to have lessons on music because she picked up learning singing and violin, and she managed to obtain all her the diplomas outside of school. Yeah, so given CCAs, they have very structured time, which is very good, which is for Mondays and Fridays for school orchestra. For the ambassador, I think the music and art ambassador, she put it in through either at home, extra work, or she do it during her break time or other free time in the school. Yeah, so she's able to cover those things, and on top of that, she can go for classes on Saturdays and Sundays. So, and during the school holiday, there's no CCA. Yeah, and there's usually no extra until maybe year 5, year 6, where they have those outside seminars and additional exposure conferences and things like that for them. Yes. So she is able to have time, yes, to upgrade and to learn more.
So they actually do have a life outside school too.
Definitely. And she's also an external orchestra as well, Orchestra of the Music Makers, yeah, for violin.
Very good, very good. But I think one thing would be, I think that there is no border between life in school and life outside school, because a lot of the things they do are what they enjoy. So it almost doesn't matter whether you are still pursuing or doing whatever projects that have stemmed from school. Melvin, there may be one very good thing you might want to share with us, because your son was in the winning team of the National Science Challenge in 2019. I mean, would you say that took away a lot of his personal time, or or family time, or anything? And if it has contributed to him growing as a student, as a person?
Actually, that was one of the reasons the National Science Challenge he watched in primary school that was one of the reasons why he wanted to go to a school that could compete. And of which NUS High, I find is a very strange audition. My daughter's secondary school, which is IP school, they just nominate 4 students and that's it, they're the team. But in Lucas' time, in 2019, it was a hard sell. 60 people competed for the first round in NUS High alone. And then they went through 3 rounds of auditions. And the seniors are so passionate. All of them came back and they all encouraged and coached them. Of course, being in the final 4 is in itself an achievement. And Lucas is the type never to say die. Actually, there are a lot of physics, world-ranked people who could have got into the team. But I know they have different sets of skills like presenting and all that. So therefore, once he got into the team, it was also another set of rigor to compete against his old classmates in the other schools in the semis and the finals. And therefore, the journey itself is more important and more rewarding than the actual fulfillment. And up to this day, he's giving back what he has learned. And the journey was actually all that matters. And because of that, it inspired a few people to take part and maybe to join the school as well, because we are, after all, a maths and science school. And this was really a glorious thing.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I'm sure, Melvin, you will say there's no sort of tuition out there that could ever have given your son what he has achieved. Is that correct?
Yes, except from tuition from the seniors.
Yeah, right. Or like we say, tuition for Chinese or mother tongue. Maybe we'll say that, because that's the question here, that our students generally have do not take tuition. I can throw it open, Kausa. Anybody who says, does your child take tuition beyond mother tongue? Beyond mother tongue, which all of us have tuition.
No, only mother tongue.
All shaking their heads. No tuition. No tuition center that can cater.
Yeah, I think, there are, I think if they need help, the staff is there, the teachers are there, the seniors are there, and I think that is more than enough for them. They don't need tuition, I don't think. And they're passionate about what they are doing, so they try to excel in whatever they are doing. So it's no tuition, please, for us. We don't have time. We need to relax.
We shall ask, well, we have 2 parents who have year 1 kids here. Anand, is there anything that would tell you, the first semester exams are over? Do you think you'll be the sort who will be saying, looking for tuition for your son?
No, not at all. Yeah, I agree with the previous parent. I philosophically don't agree with tuition anyway, even if my son wasn't in NUS High, but NUS High, definitely not. In fact, the way the program works and the way that there's continual assessments and the fact that a lot of subjects are semesterized, even the exams didn't really feel like the exam period, right? So there was a little bit of getting the notes together and doing some work, but otherwise it just was like another day. You just go do your test, do your best, and then come back. So I definitely don't see the need for tuition. There is a need for, I think, planning your time, thinking about how to plan your time better. Try and develop those skills when you're younger, so that as the curriculum and the load builds up in later years, that you're still able to cope, right? You're still able to cope in a proper way, still get enough sleep. Those kind of things I think are more important than sending kids to tuition, really.
Yeah, I think one of the most fantastic thing, because people get fixated about this tuition thing, but that's not the biggest deal in our schools. I think parents would definitely say that research is a huge part of our whole culture, a huge part of our own. Sukhjit has already said that. Melvin, there may be something you'd like to expand on, because your son went from the National Science Challenge onto the SYPT, which is the Singapore Young Physicist Tournament, which I think parents with children who have been through this competition will know that the amount of intensity they put into research is really nothing that you can ever experience in the classroom. Melvin, would you like to expand on that, please?
Yes, the day after his team won the National Science Challenge, he decided to wake up after a late night and had to go for the audition, and our laptop wasn't working and everything. He still went for it because this is the passion that drives the NUS student. They go beyond the curriculum, and the opportunities are there. SYPT, as some parents may not be familiar, is an international competition that leads to the IYPT, International Youth Physicist Tournament, of which NUS High has had a representation of 1 or 2 members in the team, together with other schools in Singapore, and they are the world champions for 8 years in a row at least. So therefore, the thing about all this is that you have to do your own research, and you'll be guided but not spoon-fed, and therefore the amount of research determines also the outcome, and they are being very fair by allowing the seniors and the teachers to collaborate together, so that it's a team effort, and without the team there can be no individual results. So that's the lesson learned, and it doesn't affect the studies, because this is all extra time, and there's a lot of free time between the school itself, so between lessons and the teaching. So that's what I have to say.
I think Melvin brought up something very important, which is really that seniors come back to help juniors throughout. You've mentioned it, you know, I think Sukhjat has mentioned that this thing about a community, friendship, seniors helping juniors and all that, because I think that brings us to the question about how do we as a school develop our children's moral development, you know, their social and moral development. This thing about sharing, about not holding back what you know, is probably one of the very strong features of our students. You know, like Kausa, would there be anything you would say that you know, has your son grown to become a better person through the 4 years he's been at school?
I don't know. Because I live with him. Yes, he's grown. He's grown leadership-wise and all those kind of things. Yes, he's grown. He understands his responsibilities. He understands that, you know, I have like often seen him making his lists, making his priorities, and then ticking them off. And then so I would say that yes, he has become responsible. He knows when to submit. I don't have to chase him that, you know, he has to submit his projects or position papers or whatever, you know, all those kind of things. I don't have to get in. It's just like, you know, I never get, and I don't get any messages from the school also that your child has not done this or not done that, because that is anyway secondary schools, we don't get all that. But I haven't got any complaints. So I think yes, he's grown, 16 years old, grown up. One of the things that is coming up is the boy-girl relationship. Up till now, we have not gone through this, so I don't know. Anybody else has gone through this? So me, no, not yet. At least I don't know. I don't know.
We have this thing which you know, our children make a decision. Definitely among us here, our children, some of them definitely would have gotten more than one confirmed offer at DSA. And why did our kids choose NUS High over the other top schools, of which we shall not name? You know, is there anything that that the mothers or parents here would like to answer, that, you know, NUS High was the choice or the best choice? Shall we have like you know, we have 2 year 1 parents here. Kirkun, if you could remember, maybe it's easier to remember with a year 1 son, that, you know, he something that sparked his interest to say that he will definitely take NUS High.
For my son, year 1, NUS High is really his choice. Yeah, because since young he has been hands-on. So he likes to make things and create things. So he plays with Lego all the time, and then he's still playing with it now. And he also likes to build things. So when the sister joined NUS High, usually we bring him to the open house, and he sees all the facilities, and he go and start with the activities since primary 4. Yeah. So when he's making the decision, I think he was won over by the session at home, where there were really science test tubes and specimens, okay, posted to the house, mailed to the house out of surprise, because it really wasn't. Yeah, so he was really happy because at home they are really bored. Okay, and so doing an experiment at home, and then he has to keep the specimens in the fridge. All these things are really, for him, it's a bonus. Okay, because usually I don't allow him to do experiment at home due to safety issues. But this one I have no choice, you see. Yeah, so he was really won over. Then plus, I think there was a game that was sent to him, some magic trick games. Yeah, so I think no school so far has used, has really tried to engage the students in this manner. And to him, learning is playing. Yeah, he learns through playing, and he reads a lot, and all by himself he learned a lot of extra things. Yeah, so he was really won over by that. Yeah, for this year.
So what has really come across, from our parents, is that passion has driven a lot of our children's path. Passion, whether it's math, whether it's science, or whether it's even their CCAs, But in this very academic sort of scene, we see a question here that says, Mr. Goh, you're online with us. They're asking whether our NUS High diploma is good enough to apply to a top US university, or do they need SATs? I think, Mr. Goh, since the question is out here, probably want to talk about the AP results or something.
Okay. Thanks for inviting me back here to explain this one very clearly. Okay. No matter whether you are from high school in US or A-level students or our NUS school diploma, all students must take the SAT all this while, right? Yeah, so it is by default everyone must take SAT. It doesn't mean that with the A-level you don't have to take SAT. But for the past year, this year itself, the US College Board has made a change. So they don't have to do the SAT. The reason is because there's no SAT. They can't run SAT because of the COVID, and because of that, therefore it become not an important thing to look at now. Yeah. So now they pass the buck to the admission office in the various universities. Okay, now you look at other things. Right. We will not be looking at SAT. They'll be looking at AP exams, which is very good for us because our students take AP exams, and we get 5. Right. Everyone gets 5.
Perfect score.
Yes, I don't get perfect 4, perfect 5, and almost 100% get 5, which means that everyone should do very well if they go to US University for this year. Yeah.
And I think, Mr. Goh, probably you'd like to add, and that the school actually preps our students for the APs. There's none of us parents who ever send our children out for any training programs anywhere.
Okay, I can't vouch for students secretly going to AP prep center, but I doubt they got time to do so. And we do have AP, we do have modules that in a way prepare students for AP. These are elective modules that more or less fit into the AP curriculum, and just to get them be more familiar with the AP exam formatting, we do have our a similar paper for them to do just before the AP exams, and that's about it. So we are not AP prep module, so we are not accredited by the US College Board to offer AP prep module, so we are not AP prep module, but our students are more than adequately prepared for AP until everyone pass AP with a 5, which is the best grade.
That's it's kind of like there's no struggle. It appears that there's no struggle for those who are doing. But there are other parents who say, but what if my child is weak in languages but good in math and science? I would just say, like, Chinese was always some form of a problem with my son, and English was kind of like the primary school style of requiring you to write creatively wasn't exactly his cup of tea. But I need to say that the school's program in teaching English as they move on from the lower years to the upper years is actually excellent, because they don't just treat English as a language. It's really very it's very life-based. It means they cover current affairs, they cover anything from TED Talks to op-eds to political rallies and all that. And then we find that because they are now writing on something that they are passionate about and something relevant, then I don't see that there's any weakness in the language now. Is there any parents? I know for sure that Anand, your son, takes Chinese as a second language. Is there anything you'd like to share after his first half year at the school?
He's he enjoys this. I mean, he enjoys his Chinese. He has the same struggles that anybody, all the other kids have with mother tongue. So he does. That's the only thing he does tuition in. But he seems to be coping. He decided very early on, and we supported him, that he didn't want to do the higher Chinese. I think it's called higher Chinese, because he didn't want to take on extra pressure. Because everything else was new, he wanted to settle in, and he wanted to, get into all the other subjects. And in terms of language, I think from what I have seen, I don't closely look at his English stuff. I think it's my wife who does more of that. It seems to be quite interesting and challenging. And I think even in the Da Vinci program, I think they're talking about communication, because your kids can be very good and passionate about maths and science, but if they don't communicate what they know, half the thing is not there, right? I think communication, even later on, even if they're scientists, you always have to write things, always have to present. So I think that aspect the school takes care of, at least from what I've seen in the first 5 months of my son's year one.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, because when they have English lessons, it's not just a sit-down lesson. It's very much where they have to present. There's a lot of presentation to their classmates, to their teachers, and even when they have science research projects, actually they need to present it to their English teachers. So meaning that you have to get a non-science person to understand what you have presented. I would go back to Melvin. When you say the use of language for presentation, you mentioned, like your son in National Science Challenge as well as the SYPT. Would you say that the use of English for presentation is very, very important?
Yes, it's the mode of communication in most parts of the world, and henceforth, if one has a background in public speaking, or even if you don't have a background, the teachers would encourage group projects where people would share, and it's just not a one-way street. So therefore, if one can, besides the domains of maths and science, acquire language skills, be it in the second language or mother tongue, or even the third language, it would stand one in good state when they go into university in future, or they have to communicate in their business with other partners from different parts of the world. We are very multicultural, and so therefore I agree with the statement that NUS High doesn't downplay the language skills. Yes.
I think it's not just whether they downplay or not. Actually, it's not only just a math and science school, because there are students who take a humanities subject as their fourth major when they're in the upper years. So year 4, 5, and 6. Like my son does music, and music is not a walk in the park. It actually they're required to do 2 instruments to a very high level, and they cover a lot of performances as well as presentations, test exams. So it's and this would be probably similar to subjects like those who take economics or literature or even history and geography, because there's an excuse to take a step back and relax. Okay, sorry, can I be heard? Yes. Is there anything that parents here would like to share about their children in dealing with the humanities? Kausa, is there anything that you could share with us?
Okay, my son in year 3, he took history. And one of the reasons was because his sister was doing history in JC, so she was she was a driving force in that. And you won't believe it, the way the things that happened, so he started reading Karl Marx and Das Kapital, and or I was like worried that what is happening? Are we moving? Are we like, in a maths and science school? Is my child going towards humanities? But no, he read that. He went with it, and scientifically we are still inclined towards computer science and all that, but it's a nice way to look at different things, and the way they explored the humanities in NUS High was very different than what is done in other schools. So I would say, and this was my experience. Like a lot of people told us that geography would be better and all that, but no, he was very keen on history. So be it. So it was a different experience altogether, rather than the maths and science. So it opens up. It gives them a rounded perspective, of the education. So I think it was a good experience for us, the history experience.
I think, bringing that part up about exposure to humanities that is not watered down, it's not in any way weaker. Would Suchet say that because at Stanford, as a liberal arts, would your daughter have done humanities subjects, compulsory humanities subjects in her undergrad, and how did she fare? Suchet, you're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Right.
She is actually more of a maths and science person, actually. Well, when she went to SSEF in her research training, SSEF stands for the Singapore Science and Engineering Fair. She had a fair share of development in terms of science communication. She did history. She had a lot of. She's well read, but when she went on to Stanford, she actually does again get more towards her math and science development. So the other history stuff she did was actually more to complement her projects in research. Oh, she did one for archaeology. She did one for history of Peru to help her use her engineering tools when she was in Peru doing some archaeology projects. So I would think that her grounding in NUS High in terms of the communication, the exposure will fit in nicely again towards the science projects that she's going through lah. So that is a given for us lah. Oh, that's the direction that we generally go.
Although the school leaders, well, whether or not they are on time, but I think questions have been asked whether all students go into just STEM fields, but I think the answer is no, because actually there are quite a number who might just do law or economics.
Yes.
Would pursue. I think if parents who know of other alumni, that potentially some of them they have enough grounding, enough training back in
Gloria.
Lead them on to a non-STEM.
Yes, I would agree with that. There are alumni who went on to get MOE scholarships to go on to do law degrees. We have another friend who has also gone on to do incidentally law. A lot of them goes one that is in Oxbridge that is also doing law. Yeah. So again, in NUS High, while we are strong in maths and science, our kids grow. I think they are able to find their own path, know themselves better in the 6 years of growth in NUS High, and the school is extremely supportive about their various pursuits, not just in maths and science, but definitely outside of school as well, in science education, and also in terms of MUN, MUN as well,
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good.
And we also have exposure in grassroots work as well. Yes, many areas in personal growth. NUS High supports a lot of that. Yeah.
That's very good. The Model United Nations would be one that Kausa can also reiterate, that it is something that is it's not considered an academic subject, but it definitely stretches them a lot. Would you share, Kausa, please?
Yes, my son actually joined MUN in year 2 and is a part of the SDYC conference management in this year. And he is also into like when we say there is a lot of presentation and English language and all those kind of things. So these are the exposures they get to do presentations, to talk about whatever they are expressing. So MUN is a very good platform for them to practice all this. And when they are doing research presentations, like there is a research congress every year which they have to do their presentation about their research, and that is also all these presentation skills and which they get, they can be used to help them grow more. That's all. I don't know. I think it is helping him. It is like, it's making them more confident. Yeah, they are very confident about what they are talking. So I think that is a big thing for our kids. Not shy at all. All of them speak their mind, I think. NUS High, I've seen them presenting everyone. So it's a very good opportunity at the SDYC.
It's very good. We open this to any parent. It's asked here, did any of you prepare your children for DSA to NUS High?
No.
Everybody's shaking their head. But basically, we don't know what goes on in the DSA, the interview, the papers. We know nothing about it. So absolutely, we are of no help as parents.
No, we are not of any help. It depends on our children, their passion, and how the school recognizes it.
There's one thing, of course, we have parents who are just looking at kids coming into the school, but whether the school leaders may have mentioned it or not earlier, I'm quite sure all the parents here will agree with me that one of the greatest feature of our school is the number of our students who do the math and science Olympiads. It's like there was an earlier question in the earlier morning to say whether students are selected for these Olympiads, and I would say that in the early years, year 1, year 2, maybe year 3, it's almost open to everybody to take part in. And I get all these mothers nodding. So for example, Kakun, you may want to share that your daughter has a most unusual profile of Olympiads in biology and physics.
She has many interests. So she's spoiled for choices actually. So she was in maths Olympiad, she was in chemistry, physics, and biology, but in the end she has to settle for 1 or 2. So eventually when she's year 5, year 6, she has bio Olympiad and physics Olympiad. Based on her interests. Yeah, so I always ask her like, so why you need to continue to take, at year 5, year 6, and she always tell me that she's offered, to continue studying because she still can stay in the class. Yeah, so things like that. So it's very interesting how they build the foundation from young, and because sometimes the student cannot choose, it's not able to make a choice, but they still can try to juggle, if they can juggle as many as they are able to do it. Yeah, so I think stretching to the fullest potential is really one of the key thing about the school, where opportunities are always there, but it's up to the student, okay, to go for it and to try it out. Yeah. And along the way, the teachers are very, very guiding her and giving her advices, yeah, until she make a decision about like which one to stay and which one to let go. Yeah.
That's very good. Thank you. Good. You know, we are coming to the end of the session soon. I don't know if are we still having any of the school leaders online and who would like to put any to add anything at this moment? Mr.
Hi.
Is there anything you'd like to add?
Okay, not really. So basically, the school leaders have our own fair share of questions already. Yeah. So and we'll try our best to answer those questions related to DSA directly through the written form. So this platform for live chat is really for the parents.
We have very supportive parents here. Probably one of the things we may not have really mentioned yet is the PSG. And PSG has stepped into school when called upon for various activities, from what Kauser was teaching, cooking, although it was a very small class. I taught them some basic sewing skills. The point is that the kids actually asked for it because they realized that living away from home in boarding, that they need to survive without mommy around to help them. And that's why they asked for these sort of lessons. And during the pre-pandemic days, if I may share, I mean, it was fun because we actually came in for Games Day. There was Staff Appreciation Day where parents can get involved, and it really shows that parents are very much interested in getting involved in their children's life. Okay, the pandemic has put a stop to that. Otherwise, the parents actually are happy to contribute to school anytime that they're called upon. I don't know, stretching on that point, Melvin, would you say that in watching your son go through the National Science Challenge, which was such a long process, were parents sucked in to watch them, guide them, or support them?
We can only watch from afar because the things they are doing are beyond our capabilities or from what we knew from our days in school. And basically the grandparents on both sides were actually in attendance when the audiences were allowed, and that shows the full support that we give to him. It's actually our choice. Some parents are working, we understand, so there's no pressure for anyone to attend. But we had the privilege to do so, and the crowd of NUS students there did not get outcheered by the other team. Somehow the team spirit is very, very strong.
Yes, I think the school spirit is strong, especially if you watch them turn up at SSEF, the Singapore Science and Engineering Fair, where you have really big contingents of our students turning up, all the others who come to support them, which then draws us back to the very strong research background that our children have in the school. We will possibly be at this final point. Is there anything that the Year 1 parents would like to say to these parents out here who are asking just how did your child prepare for DSA?
Look, we did. Akash didn't. My son didn't prepare for DSA in any way, shape, or form. I think the best advice is to go with whatever your child has got. I mean, I don't think these things you can over prepare. I don't think that's the right way to look at it anyway, because even if you somehow manage to prepare and get into the school, you've got to be comfortable that the child can cope with the curriculum and the rigor of the school, right? So I think the best idea is to just go with it. If NUS High and what it offers speaks to the child, you think it's a good idea, I think definitely apply, and I think it'll be fine.
I don't think there's such a thing as one school being more stressful than the other schools. Is there anybody the council would have maybe, or even Suchet, you would have had one child who was from another top school, either Suchet or Kausa. Is there anything to say that NUS High is more stressful than other schools?
No, I think, all like the minister says, all schools are good schools. I would say all schools are stressful schools. So all secondary schools are stressful schools. It depends on the child how stressful, and the parents, us how stressful we make it, or how supportive we are of our children. So so I would say that, like, you know, secondary school is a different thing compared to the primary schools, where we are mostly in charge of lot of things. But secondary schools is where it's a different. All schools, I would say, all secondary schools are stressful schools. I hope Sukhchat will agree with me.
Actually, you see, we all want to grow. We all want to reach a certain level of achievement, right? The difference between the IP school and our school is that our school, we do things that we really feel passionate about. We are not, how should I put it? We don't have to devote that time to take the standardized examination at the O levels and the A levels. We take that time to go research and get really deep understanding into things that we are very interested in, and we go do things that we really like. So it is not work, not exam oriented stress, is growth. It's a good positive motivation to take you to the next level. So it's different. Come join us. Come enjoy the Da Vinci program and have the science lab in your house that your mother and your dad says you can, you know, go play, you know, legit from the school and have fun. And they will help you, you know, the parents will help you clean up afterwards because it's legit. What kind of curriculum is that, you know? It's just fun, you know, just good fun. All right, come to NUS High.
Yes, sorry, I did say they will bring their experiments home sometimes.
Yes.
And parents get to play along with it too.
Okay.
And then when they get really excited, they'll show us all their simulations on their computer, and we pretend to understand what they're saying.
Anila, do you want to wrap up the session so that?
Certainly, I think we're quite happy that, you know, we've managed to gather so many parents over 3 sessions to share, and hopefully it's been helpful for all the other parents out there. Thank you.